we have been working on positional rankings for the returning players to college football, and I don't think I would be doing my job if I didn't ask you a bit about that. So before we talk about that, I wanted to play one last time. Name that Pokemon.
¿Quién es ese Pokémon?
And it is to talk about the only quarterback. He was in your top 10 list of quarterbacks if everyone was eligible for this year's draft. So you compared the returning quarterbacks to the players who are available in this year's class. And I looked at the Pro Football Focus data, and I saw that there was only one quarterback who had a big-time throw rate over 6% and who had a touchdown percentage rate over 10%, which means that one of every 10 passes he threw were touchdowns.
Oh,
Who do you think this is?
Man, this is tough.
He was in your list.
Okay, I know he's at the highest big-time throw rate. It's a touchdown rate. I actually haven't looked at the touchdown rate that often. I'm going to guess DJ Lagway because I know his big-time throw rate is outrageous. But I don't know if he's got a touchdown. Is it DJ Lagway from Florida?
He's close. I think he's close in the big-time throw rate, but the touchdown percentage rate, that's a bit cheating because if you throw a lot of passes, it's obviously going to go down. So this player didn't throw a lot of passes, which is why I had to...
Oh, Arch Manning. Is it Arch Manning?
Yes. Yes, that is Arch Manning, yes.
That makes sense. Okay.
Correctly. Arch Manning, it seems like he's a very good player. I know he's only played 2 or 3 games, but he was literally the only quarterback returning with a big-time throw rate over 6% and a touchdown percentage rate over 10%. Do you think he would be a first-round pick if he was available right now? I know it's too early, but his last name is Manning, so he only has to not suck in order to be considered a first-round pick, right?
Yeah, so we're actually on our show, we're doing an all-eligible mock draft on Monday where Arch Manning's eligible to be drafted, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, all those guys, and Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. And everyone. So that's going to be a really fun video. Spoiler alert, we have Arch Manning going number 1 overall. Now,
going number 1?
Yeah, I know people are going to hate that, and I know I already caught a lot of flack for it. This is actually Dalton's pick, not my pick. I think
it's his responsibility then. Yell at him.
I probably make the same pick, but it's his responsibility. I'm putting it on him. But I already took way too much flack for that list I put out earlier. I think how I want to frame it is I think Arch Manning will be a better prospect than Cam Ward will be. I don't know if he's a better prospect. He's definitely not a better prospect right now, but how we're trying to frame it is, okay, who are going to be the best prospects whenever they declare for the NFL draft? It's kind of how we're framing it a little bit. So I think Arch Manning has all the tools to be a superstar quarterback in college football, and then obviously a superstar quarterback prospect for the NFL draft too. So I think he's a guy that we're very high on. I'm very high on, as you can see right there, the number 1 quarterback if everyone was eligible. I think when we look back in 4 or 5 years and say, okay, when we rank all these guys right now, who are the best prospects? I think Arch Manning, when he declares, will be the best prospect of any quarterback currently in college football.
Are you worried at all about his feel for the pocket? Because his pressure to sack percentage was really high. I think it was over 30%, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not remembering incorrectly. But would you say that you are worried about that at all? Or is that something that happens because he has played 2 games and it will get better with time?
Yeah, I would say it's gonna be better, and obviously any kind of stat in for him is a little skewed considering he didn't play that much. So I think he's a guy that I don't know if pocket presence will ever be an issue for any Manning, honestly. So I don't think it'll be a big issue for him, but it's definitely a huge year for him next year. I'm very curious to see how he plays out.
But specifically with the physical tools, do you think he is better than every quarterback in this year's draft?
Maybe. Yeah, it's tough with Cam Ward. Physical tools, probably Jalen Milroe, but he's obviously raw in a lot of areas. I think Arch is very polished, and he's got pretty good tools too. He's by far the best runner at quarterback we've seen in that Manning family too, while also having the similar arm strength and arm talent and accuracy than those guys. So I would say physically he's probably at least close to the top of this year's class if he came out right now.
It seems like you're bullish in Manning, but also in DJ Lagway. So you have, first of all, you have Shedeur Sanders as quarterback 1 in this draft, right?
Yeah, it's by a hair, but yeah, that's how I would do it right now.
Would you take him with the first overall pick?
I probably would. But again, I completely understand why Cam Ward's going number 1 overall over him. Because I think Cam has a little bit of a higher ceiling than Shedeur Sanders. But I think Shedeur's floor is so much higher than a lot of people think it is. So I think he's QB1 for me. But like I said, it's a coin flip for me between the two of them.
However, if given the opportunity, you would take both DJ Lagway and Arch Manning over him, right?
Yeah, and again, that's another one where it's like, okay, if you're asking me to take, these guys right now into they have to play in the NFL immediately. I don't know if I would take those guys right now, but which I know is maybe it looks like the point of the article, but I think it's more about, okay, when they come out and when they declare for the draft, how good will they be? I think DJ Lagway will be seen as a better prospect than either Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward when he declares probably in 2027.
I have mentioned in the past DJ Lagway as the kind of prospect that fans think a team would tank for. Like they would intentionally lose to be able to get him. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Now there's still a lot of things to clean up with him. I think his footwork is still a little all over the place right now. I think he's like one of the highest graded quarterbacks on deep throws and one of the lowest graded quarterbacks on everything else. So you can see that article right there. So yeah, I think lots to clean up with him right now, but the physical tools are out of this world. Like I think he's probably got the best arm talent of any quarterback in this draft, in next year's draft, or even the draft after that. I think DJ Lagway's arm talent is better than all of them. That's the kind of guy that I'm looking at right there. So okay, yeah, if it clicks for him and he continues to get, he actually had a really good freshman year. I gotta remind you something. He's only an 18-year-old. But if he continues to develop his footwork and gets a little more accurate to the short and intermediate parts of the field, yeah, absolutely, this guy could be a guy that teams are tripping over themselves for in the draft.
I feel really bad for Graham Mertz because he was the starter and then he got injured. Lagway played, and from the first time I saw Lagway play, I never wanted to see Graham Mertz in another snap. But when evaluating him for my quarterback rankings, I ended up liking him more than I thought. Once I wasn't comparing him to DJ Lagway every single snap. But I agree, Lagway, he is very, very talented. What he does under pressure is also really interesting. I really like DJ Lagway as well, so I'm really excited to see that you have him number 2. But before talking about anyone else, I wanted to mention someone who's number 10 in your list, Nico Iamaleava, just to finish, because he's in a very, very interesting situation right now. Apparently, he's holding out, or I should say holding in with Tennessee. He's looking for a new contract. It's sort of the thing that you expect to see in the NFL, but we've never seen it before in college football. Do you think there's a possibility that Nico Iamaleava ends up in another university for 2025?
Maybe. It's very tough because it's so late in the process right now. I think he's doing this for more money, but I think he has full intentions to stay at Tennessee. I would be a little surprised if he entered the portal and went to another school. Now, for his NFL evaluation, that might be the best thing for him, considering Tennessee's offense is about as college-y of an offense as you can find, and is very hard to evaluate a quarterback in that offense.
Or a running back. Dylan Sampson is always playing against 5 or 6 man boxes.
Yeah,
how do you evaluate them?
Exactly, and really they predetermine all of their throws in that system. There's sometimes where it was only one receiver running a route on some plays too, and it's very, very vertical based, and again, not a lot of NFL translatable plays in that offense. So that makes it difficult, but I mean, like I said in that article, like he has like Justin Herbert-like tools, man. His arm talent, his arm elasticity, his arm strength, his 6'6" frame. He could run really well too. He's very athletic. He was actually coming out of high school. He was one of the best volleyball players in the country coming out of high school too. He's a very athletic kid. I think he has all the physical tools to be a franchise quarterback. The problem is you don't really know if he can be that, because the Tennessee offense just makes it so impossible to truly evaluate a guy in that system.
And I promise this will be the last question. I won't take too much of your time after this. But I noticed there is one quarterback not mentioned in your list, that I personally really, really like. I would rank him right after DJ Lagway personally, who is Lenor Cellers. Why don't you have Lenor Cellers in this top 10? What is missing in his game to be considered among these players?
Now, I will preface it by saying I think Lenor Cellers is one of the more physically talented quarterbacks we have in college football. And I think I completely understand why you and many other people are very, very high on him going into next year's draft. I think he is very Jalen Milroe-like right now, where he's very...
yes.
Certainly. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think he's raw as a passer. I think he's really raw as a passer right now. I think he's got to clean it up. Now he is all the arm talent in the world. He can throw it a country mile. He can run as well as any other quarterback in college football too. But the accuracy, the mechanics are a little Jalen Milroe-esque right now. It's just all over the place. So again, I think that's what held me back and why I don't really think he's right now one of the top quarterbacks. If he develops that, absolutely could be QB1 next year. I have no doubt about that. But I'm a little lower on him because I think he's still very, very raw as a passer right now.
I agree with that assessment. He would need to enter in an offense sort of like Lamar Jackson, with that sort of idea to develop him, like you run a lot, maybe not pass a lot as well, and put him in a situation where he can do the things he's already good at while you develop the rest of the quarterback. But that's why I wanted to ask, because I really like him and I didn't see him here. So I had that question.